Please stand if you are able and join us in singing the first three verses of Angels We Have Heard on High from your Wings of Song, our trusty Wings of Song, number 279. No,
That was 279.
27, you started, yeah.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo. In excelsis Deo. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song? In excelsis Deo. In excelsis Deo. Come to Bethlehem and see him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, our newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Well done. Please take a seat. On behalf of our staff and our Board of Trustees, it's my pleasure to welcome you on this Christmas Eve morning. And I don't blame her. And to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. And that applies to all of you who may be tuned in on our YouTube channel. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. And may you have a blessed, blessed Christmas experience. We're going to do announcements up front today. And the first one is just a gentle reminder to please silence your cell phones so that we may get through the service without any interruptions. And there's always something going on at Unity Fox Valley or the Church of What's Happening Now. Next Sunday, December 31st, listen up, at 6 a.m. will be the World Healing Meditation. People around the world gather together in prayer at 12 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. And that translates out to 6 a.m. our time. Please join us as we circle the globe with prayers for peace for the new year. On January 3rd, the Feed My Starving Children program is coming to Aurora. It's a powerful volunteer program designed to be and do exactly what the title says: attend to children who are hungry and in need of any kind of assistance. If you are interested in volunteering or would like more information as to what volunteering entails, please contact Dawn Stasak or stop by the sign-up table to register. We will be taking in donations to the garage sale again on Sundays, January 7th and January 14th. So please hang on to your items until then. Lastly, or next to lastly actually, Sunday, January 7th is the first Sunday of the month, and as such, it's Soup Sunday. Please sign up in the dining room to bring your yummy soup to share. If you're going to bring soup, it really helps us to know and plan so Bob can make appropriate adjustments down in hospitality. So just let him know. And just an update on our fundraiser, Make It Happen fundraiser. We are just short of $10,000 as of right now. We appreciate everybody who has stepped forward and contributed, and we still have a ways to go.
That's not fair.
So if you can find it in your heart and in your checkbook to participate, please do so. And now I would like to invite Wanda Fay to please come forward. She is going to light our Advent candle, and she is going to share today's daily word. Do you have a daily word? We need a daily word. I told the people who are involved in the prayer circle, if things are flawed today, it will be absolutely perfect. Aha.
Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to Christmas Eve and maybe a pastel. Let's see, let me try this one. Can I try this one? Ye of little faith, wake up. Joy. Today's daily word. With joy I prepare for the rebirth of the Christ within. Christmas Eve brings back memories of childhood anticipation. What's in the packages under the tree? What other goodies will there be in the morning? Now I relish the anticipation of the joy my gifts will bring as I watch my loved ones opening their presents. This joy blooms in my heart as the Advent season draws to a close and I prepare to receive my most precious gift, the rebirth of the Christ within. I still my mind and become present. I contemplate the awe of the shepherds as they heard of Jesus' birth. I think of the veneration of the kings who traveled to honor him. I surrender to my feelings of awe and reverence, preparing for the joyous rebirth of light and love within me. And from the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 10, but the angel said to them, do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of the great joy for all the people. Blessings on this Christmas Eve. May your heart be filled with joy. God bless.
Thank you, Wanda Fay. We have a very special service, and we might need to have 2 collections today to pay for the microphone that I just broke. I'm just kidding. I'm sure it's fine. And I invite you to just watch, listen, and share your own loving hearts as we engage in this. Marie?
Please join us in singing number 268 from the Wings of Song, What Child Is This?
268.
What child is this who
to read a Christmas story for the children up here and for the child in all of us that are sitting here. The name of the book is Christmas Always, and it's written and illustrated, which means he made the pictures, by Peter Catalanato. See? And the story begins. Bedtime always comes too early.
That's true.
See?
True. Yes.
Especially on Christmas Eve.
Also true.
Good night, Katie dear, said Mother. Father smiled, saying, sleep tight. Grandma said, sweet dreams, Lammy, as she kissed her for everybody. Then Grandpa, chuckling, took Katie up to bed. See, he's walking her up to bed. See my loose tooth, Grandpa? He shows her. She shows him. Good for you, honey. Now brush carefully, and I'll read to you. Happy Christmas to all. The book ended. And to all a good night. Even the kitty's watching her. Grandpa, I never get to stay up with everyone. Never say never, he said. Besides, Katie, you need to be asleep when he comes. Who, Grandpa? You know who. Now cuddle down. Good night, little one. Alone in her room, Katie listened to the grown-ups talking downstairs. I'll never fall asleep, she thought, wiggling her tooth, when, oops, the tooth popped out and fell to the floor. Katie bent to look for it and was startled to see a tiny man staring back at her. Look at, he's peeking under the bed.
Who is that?
Wait, just a minute.
That's an elf.
You know who I am, he said in a small, gravelly voice. I always come at night when it's time for you to sleep. The Sandman, Katie whispered, amazed. She felt herself lifted magically from the bed, then tucked again beneath the covers. This is Sandman. The Sandman, humming a tune, took a handful of sand from his pouch. He's up there, see the Sandman up there. But just as he was about to sprinkle Katie, a blast of cold air filled the room, and with it, another visitor appeared. Who are you? Katie asked. You know who I am, he said. I always come in winter to make sure it's cold for Christmas. Jack Frost, Katie cried, absolutely astonished. That's all fine and dandy, Jack, sputtered the Sandman, but you just spoiled one of my finest sleep spells. See, there's Jack Frost and the Sandman. With a crack, he snapped an icicle off Jack Frost's nose. Oocha magoocha, Jack cried, shooting into the air. Whee! The next moment, the Sandman was hopping and hollering, a shower of snow down his back. Oh. Shh, Katie cried at the two of them. Everyone will hear us. A shimmer of light spun into the room, and on it danced yet another visitor. Who are you? Katie asked. You know who I am, she twittered. I always come when you lose a tooth. But it's not under your pillow, child. Said Katie. I think it's under the bed, Tooth Fairy. See that Tooth Fairy there? See, she's there. And just look at this. I'll get it, shouted both men at once. Oh my, the Tooth Fairy gasped. You two, and still here? You know what this night is. You know who's coming. Please, finish your work and be off. Indeed, said Jack Frost. Watch this, Katie. And see, the Jack Frost is making the windows all frosty. And look at Katie's without a tooth. And now this, the Sandman began, when suddenly the sound of footsteps could be heard on the stairs. Footsteps. Now you can jingle the bell. And brightly jingling bells.
I'm jingling it just when you turn the picture, so everyone knows you turned the picture.
Okay. Here he comes, cried Katie, and none of us are in bed. Here he comes, said the Tooth Fairy, disappearing as she blew Katie a kiss. There goes the Tooth Fairy. Here he comes, said Jack Frost, and with a quick bow, he sped out the window. And look at all the snow outside. Here he comes, said the Sandman, sprinkling Katie with sand, and in a whirlwind vanishing. Katie yawned. He's here, but now I'll never get to see him. Softly, the night's final visitor crossed the room. Who's that? He bent close to Katie's cheek, whispering, "Never say never." The end.
Christmas is tomorrow.
Yay! Merry Christmas to all. And now we have to get down. We have to get down. Okay, we have to get down.
And now I would like to invite the next person who is going to share with us this morning. Mary? Have a seat. I understand that you have a story to share with us this morning that captures the meaning of Christmas for you.
Yes, actually, I have two stories to share with you. I have my little book.
You have to get closer to the mic.
So I want to share with you the wonderful significance Christmas Eve has been in my life. On mornings like this, the peaceful Christmas Eve ambience entices me to reflect on the mysteries of life and the beauty inherent in every moment that connects the earthly with the divine. Such was a memorable moment 38 years ago today, on a cold and gray Christmas Eve morning. Then my grandmother, lying in her hospice bed, took her last breath. Moving past her earthly existence to continue on her spiritual journey, leaving behind a legacy of love, plenty of grandmotherly advice, and the treasured memories of the sweet aroma of the best Christmas cookies ever. Freshly baked from the oven, warm and ready to be devoured by my 6 siblings and me. Given my grandmother's Danish descent, what would one expect when it came to holiday baking? In that bittersweet silence of her passing, on one of the most sacred celebrated days of the year, I began my journey to truly realize the sacredness of farewells and the presence of spiritual truths that transcend time. And then, interestingly enough, as the wheel of time turned, as the seasons shifted, the divine weaving of life unfolded yet another significant chapter. Exactly a year later, on that very same sacred day, Christmas Eve, and the recent sorrowful memory of my grandmother's passing, I was in hospital bed, giving birth. Agonizing through the pains of labor pains that eventually later that day gave birth to a newborn. The sounds of the drummer boy, the slow rendition of it actually, could be heard on the overhead radio as my husband and I joyously welcomed the birth of our little drummer girl. As she gave her first breath, ready to beat to her own drum, to the rhythm of life as she entered this world, bringing with her the promise of new wondrous beginnings. In her arrival, we celebrated this true testament to the circle of life, both earthly and divine, where sorrowful memories took a backseat for a while to the miraculous joy of a newborn. In these interconnected moments of time, I often find myself with a greater appreciation for a heartfelt spiritual presence, a presence guided by a powerful, loving force that's actually beyond my mortal understanding, yet one to be fully assured that all is well, all is truly well in the deepest sorrows and the utmost joys of our lives. On this Christmas Eve morning, my husband and I celebrate the holiness of this meaningful day alongside all of you, as we cherish the memory of my beloved grandmother and celebrate our daughter's special day. In doing so, our hearts are open wide to embrace the beauty of life's sacred cycles. For all of you, may this tale be one of profound spirituality, if it's one of hope, one of faith, one of joy, and one of love, as a testimony to the gracious power of love and the spiritual interconnectedness of all things, both earthly and divine. In closing, I wish for all of you a very Merry, Merry Christmas. And Sarah, she's on live stream from Colorado. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Mary, for sharing that with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now Reverend Jan is going to lead us in meditation this morning.
And so we come to the most sacred part of this service. This time where you get to step out of the busyness of the season and just open your heart and your mind to that power and presence that is always with us. And so we take a gentle, deep breath, and as we exhale, we just relax into those chairs that hold us. This is our time. This time where we open ourselves fully surrendered to the work of Spirit moving in and through us. Come, O come, Emmanuel. Emmanuel meaning God with us. But we don't have to beckon that presence. We just have to make ourselves aware of that loving presence, that healing presence. Come, oh come, make me aware of your presence within me, we pray. In this beautiful Advent season, where we are filled with hope, where we long for peace, particularly at this time of year. Where we encircle our world with love, particularly in those places that are hurting. Remembering those who've gone before us, but are always with us because of their love and attention. And we enter these next days with a feeling of joy because we are aware that God is always with us. We are never alone. We are strengthened. We are embraced. We are healed because of that Christ presence always with us. And so as we gently move into a period of silence, we surrender ourselves and open ourselves to the work of Spirit in and through us and out into our world in the silence. And so we very gently bring our attention back to this time and this place, feeling renewed and restored with the surety of the knowledge of God with us in every challenge, in every situation, in every healing, in every relationship. And for the gift of that presence, we say, thank you, sweet Spirit. Amen and amen.
Oh, come, desire of nations bind, all peoples in one heart and mind. Bid every strife and quarrels cease. Fill the whole world with heaven's peace. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O
Reverend Jane, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful meditation with us. And speaking of beautiful, I invited this gentleman seated alongside of me now to share a little bit of Christmas memories that he may have. And this is a fellow who is typically a man of few words, because he manifests who he is by his presence, his loving caring, and by being a pillar of this church for a very, very, very long time. So I was incredibly grateful when he said, yes, if you're asking me to do this, I will do this. Okay? And you're here now, Bob, so there's no backing out. Okay. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to do a bit of sharing myself before I ask Bob to speak up. And I have a Christmas Eve story to share, which is kind of amusing. And that is one Christmas Eve when the family was in full force, because we always opened gifts on Christmas Eve, not on Christmas morning. And so the extended family was there. I had older sisters who had children at that point, and I myself was about 17, 18 years old, I remember. And because there were young children involved, we wanted to do this early in the evening. And generally speaking, my father would return home from work about somewhere between 4:15 and 4:30. 4:30 came, Dad wasn't home yet. 5 o'clock came, Dad wasn't home yet. 5:30 came, Dad wasn't home yet. And with each passing minute now, I don't know that people were worried about Dad so much as, oh my God, our Christmas Eve is going to be ruined because the kids are going crazy and da-da-da-da-da. Dad finally pulled into the house about 7:15 in the evening. And he was, way more than 3 sheets to the wind. I could see smoke coming out of my mom's ears. She was really angry. And we sat him down, and I think one of my sisters quickly rushed and got a plate of food to him. And my mother was really giving him heck, as you could imagine. And in response to this, my dad went into 3 stories why he was so late, and that it wasn't his fault. It was the fault of 3 co-workers and he had to bear the responsibility of taking each and every one of them home. And each segment was a very long story. I can't remember all of them, but it started out with one guy who weighed over 350 pounds and lived on the second floor, and the guy was really inebriated, and he said, "Ma, it took me forever because I had to almost like carry him up the stairs, one stair at a time." And then the second story, I don't remember the third, so I'm only going to give you one more. The second story that he told was, "And Ma, I got this guy out of my car, and he could barely walk. And I got him to the front door, and his wife was there. And she was insane. She was crazy. And she started blaming me, for him coming home late and coming home drunk. And actually started whacking me with a broom as I was running down the walkway trying to get away from the whole thing." As these stories unfolded, everybody's anger melted and drifted away. And we were on the floor laughing hysterically. And even my mom, who really tried very hard not to be forgiving, was very, very forgiving. And it was really one of the more beautiful Christmases that I could recall because, Santa showed up and distributed gifts, and we ended up singing songs, and that just sticks out as a very special Christmas to me up until this day. So, you've been around a few years, just a few, and you must have a family experience or two with your lovely wife, of course, children, grandchildren.
Some of these would be collective memories. Something that's always been so important is the candle lighting service during this time. I've noticed often members will bring other family members that are visiting here. And for me, it's always been special when I've had family members that could join. Another thing that I recall are all of the Christmas pageants with the kids. And over the years, seeing the changes that occur, taking on different roles, sharing their talents with us in regards to playing the violin or a musical instrument or singing. That was always a joy to see. And then another event that's been very special to me in the past with many memories is the prayer vigil that we have had on New Year's Eve morning. A few would show up, and Marge would lead that. And as Mike mentioned, we're going to do that again next Sunday at 6. So I look forward to that as well. My children grew up here, and it's always, been very important to me, the leadership that was provided and just the approach in the Sunday school. I know Mary follows that as well, just helping them to see their true potential, very positive and uplifting. And that's always something that I'll always appreciate. So thank you for allowing me to share a little bit I don't want to take time away. I know we have kind of a special visitor maybe coming this morning, and
Hopefully he'll show up. But I really appreciate you sharing and giving of yourself. As I said, you're a very, very special family member of this church family. And I think it means a lot. So,
the church has been very important to me as well, as you all have been. Thank you.
so we have to include something else as part of the service today, and that's the sacrament of giving and receiving and time for a love offering. I don't know what's in your hearts when you give your dollars and your cents and contribute the way that you do so generously in this church. I don't know if you fully appreciate, how that's a tangible expression and how it really captures the whole spirit of Christmas in so many ways. But it really makes a difference, not just for the money, which really is important as we continue to feed this building and have a warm fireplace and all kinds of things. But what it just really shows is your investment in this church family. Because you're not just people who are attending a service. You are people who are being of service. So thank you for that. And I don't have it memorized, so help me with our affirmations, okay?
God is my instant,
Constant, abundant source of supply. Love blesses and multiplies all that good that I am, I have, I give, and I receive. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all the good that we are, we have, we give, and we receive. Well, I'm a little bit concerned because we were supposed to have, I had hoped and visualized and imagined and have faith that we were going to have another person visit with us. Maybe if we sang something, we could make this happen. Oh my gosh! Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Vixen and Blitzen and Lockman's reindeers pulling on the rein. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. Join your stockings, say your prayer, Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus.
Here comes Santa Claus down Santa Claus Lane. He's got a bag that's filled with toys for boys and girls again. Hear those sleigh bells jingle, jingle, what a beautiful sight. Jump in bed, cover your head, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight.
Hi, Santa. Welcome. Have a seat. Do you have a time to sit a spell with us?
You know, it is kind of a busy day for me, but I would love to sit and get off my feet for a few minutes.
Well, please do.
Okay.
Don't sit on this image of you.
No, no. Thank you.
And Santa,
Yes.
would you hold this while you speak so everybody can hear you, please?
Sure.
A little frazzled, are we?
You know, it is the busiest night of the year for the team and for me, you know.
Well, Santa, I don't know if you're aware, but we have been sharing some.
It's really comfy up here.
Are you okay, Santa?
Yeah. Just resting a little, you know.
You've been sticking to cookies and milk, I hope. And
Nothing like that story I just heard about somebody's dad. Oh, no,
Yeah.
not me.
well, we've been sharing just stories and memories of trying to capture a bit of the true meaning of Christmas. And for many, you represent that. And you must have, because you're not a young man, Santa. You've been around a long time.
I get that a lot.
And you must have thousands of stories. And I wonder if you might share just one with us this morning?
Well, you know, you're right. So many stories and so many wonderful experiences across so many continents and so many years. But I'll remember one that took place here in Chicago, actually, in the Chicago area. And it was probably, I don't know, the late 50s, early 60s. And there was a family on their way home from their grandma's in Bridgeport. You know Bridgeport? In the south side of the city. And they went there every year for Christmas. And there's this lovely little girl and her sister in the back seat of their dad's Ford Fairlane. You remember Ford Fairlane, some of you, with the big, big fins on the back. And there they were in the back of the car. And driving up north, probably on maybe Lakeshore Drive, maybe if the Dan Ryan was around. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the daddy had on the Santa radar report. Some of you may listen to that on Christmas Eve. And they were tracking Santa. And lo and behold, Santa had made his way, they said, to downtown Chicago. And this little girl looked out the back seat of the car and looked at all the buildings and the lights in the city. And there, over the Prudential Building, which was the only tall-ish, by today's standards, building, she saw it. She saw the reindeer, and she saw the sleigh, and with Santa in it. And she sat there in the back seat, just knowing with every ounce of her being that that was Santa and the reindeer, and she saw them. And then sure enough, off they went, probably up to Milwaukee, maybe, I don't know. And the radar report said that he'd left the area. But I know that that little girl believed, and believed with all her heart and soul.
That little girl, you said the 50s or 60s?
Yeah, that was about then, yeah.
Well, I imagine that little girl has to be a pretty old lady at this point.
Not necessarily, buddy.
So, do you think that she still believes?
Well, of course she still believes. Why wouldn't she believe? You know, belief is so fundamental to everything that's good and manifesting everything in our lives. If you just believe, it absolutely, positively can happen. You should know this. Do you not know this in your
Well, yes, but, you know, we have this whole thing that some people don't believe, and then we have the other thing that some people think that you actually are what Christmas is all about. And how do you feel about that personally? You know, how do you explain who you are and what you are and why you do what you do every year?
Well, that's a really good question. It's just a gig, you know. It's what I chose to do to bring joy and happiness, particularly into the hearts of little kids and to a lot of grown-ups, too. It's just my way of demonstrating my faith and my belief. And you have one in your role as a minister, and I look at all these faces here, and I know that every single person is an expression of that belief and that faith, whether you're a teacher or you're in the medical profession or you make the coffee for this church in the morning or you get ready and distribute bulletins and things. Every single action and role that people take is an expression of their, let's use the word, their Christ.
So I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I just want to make sure that I understand.
Okay.
So you're saying this is a ministry for you and that we all have a ministry?
Well, sure. Everybody chooses their path in life and chooses their way to express their divinity, their gifts, and to share in that with everyone else. Yes.
Well, I can't tell you how much. I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of everybody here, how much we appreciate you taking your time on this morning of this busiest day of your life,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
to be with us and for sharing your loving heart with us, because I really think that love is the missing ingredient, you know, for making the Christmas miracle, manifest in a very, very real, practical way for so many people in the world. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I don't know that you have the time, but we're going to have coffee and tea and hot cocoa this morning, and and cookies. Looks like you've eaten a few in your time, but let's just say you make manifest in more ways than one.
I really have to go now.
But thank you so much.
Get out of the couch.
Thank you so much, Santa. We love you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Santa Claus, there goes Santa Claus from Santa Claus Way.
Thank you, Santa. We are now going to sing ourselves out in a very solemn, peaceful song that all of us know. And I really invite you to put your hearts into it this morning. Be conscious of one another. And as you're singing the words, you know, you're blessing one another and making this a very, very Merry Christmas.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
We're done.